guys, welcome to yet another dungeon guide video. As always, with these videos, no one in the group shown in the video has any champion point allocated, and this is to show that you can do these dungeons without CP, or even if you're new to the game, just as long as you know what you should expect and what kind of boss fights there are. So here we have more trash to deal with, lots of recurring themes every dungeon. And here is our first boss of the dungeon, the magnificent desert lion. Now, as a side note, if you've aggroed any trash before talking to the NPC, the quest giver for this dungeon, the NPC may bug out, so you're gonna have to reset the dungeon and talk to her before you aggro anything in the dungeon. And as you can see, this boss doesn't really do anything, doesn't really damage the tank much. Has a heavy attack, light attacks, and occasionally does the fears, and it'll keep repeating the same thing over and over until you finally kill it and get jailed by anti-poacher agencies. But we're not here to poach fur, we are here to poach greater prize, as you guys will find out. Now, unlike a lot of the dungeon guide videos you've probably watched before this, Volenfell is, like some other dungeons, unique in the fact that it didn't have a normal and veteran mode back in the day, meaning it only has one storyline. So whether you do it on normal or vet, you'll see the same bosses, the same storyline. There's no City of Ash 1, City of Ash 2 kind of thing here, or Fungal Grotto 1 and 2. It's just Volenfell. And it'd be pretty cool to see, if they do anything with these dungeons in the future, maybe add more storylines or a different, map to it, to kind of continue very interesting stories behind these dungeons. And here we have the second boss of the dungeon, the estranged husband of our protagonist NPC that gave us this quest. He's not really very hard to deal with as a tank or a DPS. He did used to be bugged in the fact that he would, not obey taunt from a tank. And here we DPS him to a certain health interval, which forces him to pick up a fire staff, giving him the ability to summon a spooky fire ghost that may fear the tank. But other than that, he doesn't hit hard, he doesn't do much, and eventually you're gonna DPS him again to the next health interval. And when he reaches the next health interval, he's gonna summon a very frightening gargoyle. Now, this gargoyle is the third boss of the dungeon. Although it says monstrous gargoyle, it doesn't really hit too hard on the tank, even with its heavy attack. And now they did fix the cone, from which you weren't getting petrified to stone before the animation fully took effect. And as a DPS or healer, you don't want to stand in that red AoE. However, with full CP, you can. Just a matter of if you have the full CP or not. And after you kill this gargoyle boss, you will advance through the map. Lots of people get lost in here for the first time, so don't worry. As you'll see later in the video, I'm going to open up the map to show you guys locations and reference points. And here, yet again, we encounter more cutthroats, bandits, mercenaries, and more things to kill. Things get a bit more interesting though once we enter the secret tunnel here. Things get a bit more Dwemer, more dwarven. As you can see, we encounter spheres and spiders. For those of you who are familiar with the lore of many regions in Tamriel, you'll know that the Dwemer had their strongholds and their underground cities in various parts of the world. And Alikir Desert was not an exception. And so you're going to be contending with spiders and spheres. Not a huge deal, they don't hit too hard. So you just want to keep continuing. Very easy. Now, you want to go into this room as you have to pull a lever in this room to advance to the next area of the map. And this is our fourth boss of the dungeon. It's just a fire shock. Be wary though if you are a stamina damage dealer, or you're just ranging him down really close. That fire AoE does hurts a lot. Even people with 300, 400 CP can die to it. So just be very wary of that fire AoE. And here you'll see me pull the lever needed to unlock the door to the next area. And of course I get left behind by my fellow adventurers, because I'm just a lever bitch apparently. For whatever reason, my character seems very happy about being a lever bitch, so I guess it's alright. So the door, which was previously locked, has now opened, and you'll run into even more Dwemer ends, and for the first time in this dungeon, you'll see a Centurion. Unlike a few other dungeons we can name, like Darkshade and stuff, Centurions in this dungeon are not very beefy. They're not very, they don't have very high health, so they'll kind of just die with the rest of the trash. And we got a mix of natural animals and mechanical beings coming into play here soon. Gotta kill those off, and as you guys saw earlier, we saw something under the ground slither with the earth shaking and trembling. Wonder what that is. And here you want to pull this steam release valve. If you don't, by the time you get to the end of the hallway over there, the lever you need to pull will not be pullable. Now I have no idea what the fuck killed me there. It clearly wasn't steam visually. It may have been, according to the death recap. I didn't really look. It's whatever. But if you do have a shield as a magic damage dealer, you wanna use it as you advance through the hallway, just in case you do get hit by steam, visible or invisible. And here we have the fifth boss of the dungeon, just another dwarven sphere, slightly larger, has more health, does a bit more damage than the regular spheres. Just gotta watch out for its fire AoE it puts on someone. You can mitigate it with block or shield or whatever, but that's about it. And here we pull the second lever in this room, opening a door over there, which reveals a third lever. And you want a person to pull that lever, otherwise you can't advance to the next area. Now you guys remember seeing that terrible little earthquake underground travel here. And here we have a very large Dune Ripper Tremor Scale, which is a titular monster of the monster set Tremor Scale. Those of you who have PvP'd in ESO in the past do know what that set is. It's pretty cheesy, but they did nerf it with the overall nerf to crits with monster sets. And here it is possible to burn Tremor Scale with 2 or 3 DPS before he goes underground, but other than that, if he does go underground, he'll come back up out, and he'll have a huge red AoE where you can get CC'd, so you can kind of sidestep that. No big deal. Other than that, we're gonna keep going on to see what's the fuss about this entire dungeon and this entire place, Volenfell. What is the treasure hidden in here? And of course, like playing Mario, your princess is not in this castle. And instead we have a scroll we're going to read for the hard mode, and we are going to face off against the Guardian's Aspects, guarding the Guardian's Eye. And the strategy overall, there's been a lot of groups I've been in the past couple of years that have different strats to tackle this boss. Oh, okay, the tank died. The strategy overall is to have both DPS, or 3 DPS if you're running that, focus the blue Centurion first, because it is the main obstacle to getting reses off if anyone dies. You can't stand in those lightning AoEs for too long, applies the minor concussion on you, it hurts a lot, especially if you don't have too much CP to mitigate it. So you want to get that blue Centurion down as fast as possible. Two things of note with this fight, especially with the hard mode turned on. The green Centurion, if you do not block the heavy attack from it, or the cone from it, you'll probably die, even if you're the tank. So the red Centurion is not really tauntable if you're trying to taunt it as a tank. So it is on the DPS or the healer to kind of kite around the room, to not running over other people. And here we have the classic example of why this fight can be very hard to be recovering from, because you got these AoEs going in, you got these Centurions chasing you, you got the tank busy. So finally I find an opening when the blue Centurion targets the tank, I get a res off, and I continue DPSing the blue Centurion per our strategy. It is very unfortunate that we died here, but it's actually a great example to show of how you can recover from this fight, from this hardened mode, and to show it is doable, even if you don't have the best DPS or the best setup. And of course, for whatever reason, the tank dies again. If this ever happens, make sure you have enough stamina to sprint away fast or dodge roll. Unfortunately, I did not, so I died. And thankfully, we have one of our group keep DPSing the boss. It is okay at this point to do it. The fired one cannot kill you as long as you stay out of the AoE. And there you have it. That's how you interestingly clear Volenfell. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Everything changes.